Most of us did not ignore ourselves intentionally. It was much quieter than that. It was much more subtle than that. It wasn't like there was one specific moment where we heard our intuition, our inner guidance, and we looked at it and said, no, well, yeah, I'm not going to do that. It was very different. It was years, perhaps decades, of choosing outside of ourselves, doing things that made other people comfortable, making decisions that maybe appeared right, and really not tapping into what was best for us, or even looking to ask ourselves what was best for us. And this wasn't because we were weak. It was because this is what we were taught. This is what we knew. This is what we were conditioned to do, and we just followed through for most of our life. And then over time, there comes a time, often in a woman's life, where they really start to see this. They notice it. They start to notice these patterns. And this is really when everything can change. Hello, my name is Krista, and welcome. In today's video, we are going to talk about self-trust after years of potentially ignoring what our inner wisdom has been guiding us to do. And I like to help women tap into their inner guidance, their inner wisdom, to really hear what it says, trust what it says, and then be able to act and follow along with this guidance so they can live the life and make decisions for themselves that are perfectly aligned for them. So let's talk about self-trust. And self-trust is one of those things that is huge. It's paramount. And it's one of those things that oftentimes women really struggle with. Trusting what they feel, trusting what they know, and then acting on it. And I think it deserves a conversation about this as well too. And self-trust and betraying that trust or ignoring that trust can show up in many different ways. It might be staying in a relationship or a job or career that you know you've outgrown, but it's just a little easier to stay put than to make the decision. Another example might be where we say yes to something when inside we know we want to say no. There's that happening as well too. It's softening our opinions when we're in a group, when we have strong opinions about what we want to say, but we can kind of diminish ourselves. We get a little bit quiet. We don't say really what we want to say. These are just some examples of how we start to betray what we know is true for ourselves, and this is how it can show up. And this was not a character flaw by any means. It was really a survival pattern. It was what we were taught to do, and we didn't know any better. We were unconscious that we were even doing it for quite some time. So looking at it that way, so that's how it starts. And again, it's very subtle, it's very quiet. We're really unaware of it for most of our life. At least I was too, and I'm sure many of you were as well too. So that's how it begins. And underneath that, our intuition was always there. We just chose not to listen to it or to dismiss it because, again, we weren't really taught to prioritize it, or we weren't taught that it was important or that it was valuable, or that it was really it had a lot of intelligence with it. We were taught to use our mind, and that was how we moved through our life. So again, just so you understand really how it begins and how it starts. And over time, we do start to lose trust with ourselves. We don't do the things that we say we're going to do, and then we start to have this long track record of diminishing what we feel is right for us and what is true for us. We ignore what we're feeling, and this is what happens over time. We just stop to trust ourselves. And again, it's not dramatic. It's just over time, years, decades of doing this, it just becomes our default and what we do. And our nervous system now has evidence. It's shown us for quite some time that this is what we do. So once we really start to kind of see this pattern and we're aware of it, there is an inclination to want to change it dramatically. Like, okay, I know what I'm doing now, and I see this, and I want to make changes. And my advice, my wisdom would be just to, just kind of slow down, because This does not happen overnight. This is not a quick transformation. You've probably spent years dismissing what our inner wisdom is guiding you, and it's going to take years and some time to start to kind of build that trust again, to make those promises to yourself and know that you're going to stay with them. And that's really where it begins. I kind of like to think of it as a self-trust bank account or account. And when we start to listen what our inner guidance is suggesting and make this move or call this person or do this thing, over time we start to kind of trust ourselves. And that's almost adding like a little bit of, that's a deposit into our self-trust account. It's saying no when we want to say no, not overextending ourselves. If we feel like we need to rest today, then we rest. If we feel like we don't want to go to that party on the weekend, we don't go to that party on the weekend. It's just being aware of that and honoring what your body is speaking to you. Versus, and a withdrawal would be if you're overextending yourself and you know you're doing too much. You know you're people pleasing, you're saying something just to kind of fit into the group. You know you're minimizing your voice, your tone, because you want to make other people comfortable. You're kind of, you don't want to say what you really want to say. These are ways where we start to lose that trust within ourselves. And really with that self-trust account, it's going to tip one way or the other. So liken it to that is probably a good way to start. And it starts really small, the self-trust. It might mean, today I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go for a 10, 20-minute walk. And then you actually follow through with that walk. It might be that I'm going to be in bed, lights out by 10 p.m. at night. And then you are in bed at 10 p.m. that night. It might be drinking more water. It might be whatever it is for you. There's no right or wrong. You're gonna know what it means for you. But start small, like really small, because once you start to kind of nail some of these small promises that you make to yourself, then you feel that self-trust within yourself and you feel good and you're honoring what you want. So start small. Don't have too many grand promises to yourself, because that's really a way that I think it can backfire. So start small. Over time, you will start to notice that you will regain that trust with yourself. And then you have a track record. And your nervous system knows now that when you say you're going to do something, you will do it. And I also think it's important to realize that we need to also really be kind to ourselves when we're going through this process. There's a tendency that when we start to awaken and we start to see some of these patterns that we've done for years and decades, oftentimes we want to be a little bit harsh and we think, oh my gosh, like, how did I not see this before? And why did I stay in this relationship for X amount of years? Or why am I still in this job that I don't even like? And how can I still be doing this? What is wrong with me? And oftentimes we can kind of be a little bit mean and not very nice to ourselves when we start to look at this. So really a part of this whole process is just to be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself. You didn't see it before. You were limited with your consciousness to what you were aware of, and to recognize that. If we think of any relationship, whether that be with a partner or a small child or anybody in our life, how we speak to somebody else is going to make a big difference in whether that relationship thrives or not. So really having that awareness to be kind to yourself. Give yourself the grace and compassion that, you know what, I'm just starting to see some of these patterns that I've been unconsciously doing for most of my life. All right, I see this. But also it's just a decision to be kind to yourself and notice it and know that it's going to take some time to rebuild. Once we've spent years kind of ignoring kind of some of these signals that our body's been giving us, it takes some time. So I really want you to be kind to yourself about this and not berate yourself at all about this. Don't put yourself on trial and be the judge, jury, and convict yourself of that. All right. Last thing I'd like to say is, again, it does not happen overnight. It's a process. It takes time. Give yourself grace. Choose one promise today that you are willing to make and follow through. Build that self-trust gradually. One day, in those micro little moments, that's how it starts. And it compounds pretty quickly, I will say. It takes some time, but once you start to see that momentum, it snowballs. And then over time, you start to have this new relationship with yourself. You start to know that you've got your back. And when you say something, you will follow through. You will know what works for you and what does not work for you. And you will be able to show up authentically in your life, knowing yourself and trusting yourself. And then you just show up in your life situations, knowing that you will be okay and you don't have to defer to others. You know what works, and it's a great way to live your life and to walk through your life, having that confidence and having that self-trust with yourself. But it's built over time, but you can absolutely do this. I have full trust in you that you can absolutely do this. And knowing also that your inner guidance is wise. It's wisdom, innate wisdom in your body. It's intelligence. It's always been guiding you, and it wants the best for you. It's just allowing ourselves to hear it, to tap into it, trust it, and then move accordingly. But it's always been there, and that relationship will come over time as well too. It can be strengthened, and it's again a wonderful way to live your life, to live in alignment with what you know to be true for yourself. If you would like support with this or anything really I talk about on this channel, feel free to reach out. I am here to support and guide women with this as well. There's different ways of working with me. I'll put in the description. And also I do have an audio guided practice that I think would be wonderful if this is new to you. If you'd like to have this reconnection with your inner wisdom, you will be able to hear your inner voice, listen to it, and just kind of tap into that relationship once again. There's a link in the description that I will put in there as well for you. So thank you for listening. And again, remember, even if you've ignored what your inner wisdom has been telling you for years or decades, it's never too late to rebuild that. And it is more than available to you when you decide to move forward. All right. Wishing you all a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.